Well, how did I end up here? And how did I get involved in the community? Well, um, yeah, the early days of UROC. Well, it all started pre-UROC, really. We didn't incorporate the club until 2008, and we were definitely actively building and holding events prior to that. We were under the Comox Valley Cycling Club umbrella. Um, and yeah, like I said, putting on events, an XC, a downhill. We started the 12 hours, a lot of the core races that are still going today with the club. And then UROC was born out of necessity. There was a need for advocacy, and we'd kind of outgrown the Comox Valley Cycling Club. It was more of a road-focused club, and they met in Comox, and we were out in Cumberland, and we were more into mountain biking. And at that time, there was some active logging that was going on, and so we started to advocate. And we quickly learned it was important to have a good relationship with the landowners, the forest companies, Mosaic and Hancock, and we worked to develop that. We got a key to the gate, the yellow gate down here. Mosaic, then Timber West, kind of held the key back a little bit to incentivize us to move forward with the land use agreement. But yeah, that's why the club started, was for advocacy purposes. I can remember going to the regional district, actually, and putting on a presentation with Colin Wilson. He prepared it, and it laid out all the trails in the Comox Valley as a layer, and then it removed all the illegal trails, and it just showed what was legitimate trails, and it was a fraction, like 1% of the entire trail system in the Comox Valley. And at the end of the meeting, the regional district was like, well, that's great, but who are you and who do you represent? And so it was at that moment we're like, oh, I guess we have to formalize. And so we incorporated as the United Riders of Cumberland.
Well, what was really cool there is the question they had for you. Who are you? Who do you represent? How would you answer that question?
Well, yeah, I guess now we're 17 years into the club, and like I said, we were still active prior to the club being formed. But I'd say as a club and organization, which I'm no longer on the board anymore. I stepped down in 2018 to go on a year-long travel with my family, but I do still actively volunteer as a trail builder, and am still engaged as a member, and I'm on a trail advisory committee. But I would say the club now it's a leader on Vancouver Island, and if not on the province, in the province. And I would say specifically Vancouver Island, because we had the challenge of the private lands that surround us. So when we were early days pre-UROC, looking at building trail and everything, we were working with the mountain bike tourism organization, and their goal was to help clubs in the province, and it was helping clubs work with the provincial government and build trail on Crown land. And every time it came back to us, it was like, private. Ooh, yeah, that's tough, right? So Mike Manera, who was an original board member and founding member of the club, was working with, I think his name was Stuart Spooner out of Rossland, and they had a land use agreement there. So they were actually provincial leaders for sure, and we borrowed heavily from them. They had 17 different landowners surrounding Rossland, and so we borrowed their agreement with their permission, and that kind of started us in that direction. Yeah. So who are we, and who do we represent? Well, we are a very well-established club that helps organize other clubs on the island with through what we've already achieved with the landowners. And who do we represent? Well, Dougal can speak better to that, but the membership, I think, is over 2,000. I was just at the AGM, but I can't recall the exact number, which is pretty good in a town that's less than 4,000 people.
Yeah, when I talk to Dougal or Mike Monera up in Mount Washington there, it's like the stories or Dan or whoever. I think it's so cool that you guys were able to, yeah, find a way and find resources at the beginning back pretty early.
Super early, and it was pretty much all run out of here, out of the hostel. Like, this was our tool crib. This is where we stored all the stuff for the events and everything. We had a chalkboard that we kept in the bike storage room, and we would tow it down with a tube tied to the back of our bike down to the number 6 mine park, and that's what we would use to track the laps for the first 12 hours. And yeah, it was a real grassroots club and organization. And we weren't in isolation at that time. There were a lot of other clubs on the island that were hosting events as well, right? And we were all insured under Cycling BC, basically. And it was like a family. It was a real time for me, for mountain biking on Vancouver Island, traveling up and down and racing, and developing those friendships in the various communities.
Yeah, getting this all together, like one of the questions that somebody had for you, I think it was Cycling BC or something, was like, "Oh, you're trying to get a land use agreement with private." Like, what were some of the hurdles that you remember? If you're trying to block out
Uh,
the agreements and to get people on board, to get that key to the gate.
Yeah, to get that key to the gate. Well, like I said, Hancock was pretty good. Even before the land use agreement, they knew what we were doing. We were out there building trail illegally, but we were hosting events all above board, right? We were insured, but those trails had to come somewhere for those events. So they knew what was happening, and it was in our best interest to formalize a land use agreement. Um, some of the hurdles I would say would have been getting the support from the village, actually. I've been here for some time now, and seen a lot of chief administrative officers come and go with the village, and it just took the right staff at the right time to recognize the importance of mountain biking in our community, and to assist us in moving forward with the land use agreement. We had the relationships, with the landowners. We had the trail network. We had the ambition. We had the events. What we were lacking was that administrative support. And like I say, it just took the right CAO to come in, and Mike and I met with him at the Waverly Hotel and explained to him what we were trying to do. And he's like, okay, I got it. So in the next budget, we'll put a line item request in for Parks and Recreation coordinator. And the budget was approved. And that person's primary role was to assist us in getting us a land use agreement. And it soon followed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how would you explain like what people get out of being volunteers out here? So there's obviously the volunteer trail builders, the events, stuff like that, but do you think it's more than just putting your time in? Do you think they're making friendships? Do you think they're contributing to the community, learning more about?
Oh, it's all that. Yeah, that's a great point. You're making friendships, you're developing new ride partners, you feel like you're giving back, you're informed, right? Like, if you're a member of our club of UROC, then you get the new trail alert. It's in your inbox. You if you go to the AGM, you're informed on what the club has done in the past year, where it's going in the future, trail development, the social aspect of it. Yeah, it's, and you get that feeling of being a part of your community. It's, yeah.
How different would this place be? Yeah, 20 years ago, Elon Musk just rolled in and gave $30 million to the town to build trails. You think that would be a lot different deal than the community built, slow growth, organic kind of feel of this town?
Well, you see it, right, in the United States. Well, I've gone to IMBA ride centers where they, draw a circle on the map, and they're like, we can put a trail network there, and They put in the infrastructure, the paved parking lots, the washrooms, the trail network, the signage. And it can be a good riding experience, especially if you're transiting through an area and you want to stop and ride that day. But it doesn't have the same feel as Cumberland. And again, some of it is Cumberland's a bit of a recipe for success in that we've got a beautiful downtown. Um, you know, every time you finish a ride, you finish with a descent. um, and we've got one of the best climbing trails around. Now it hasn't always been there; it was always a little tougher.
I
Um,
remember when we came in. It was right when I got here.
yeah, and I would also say Dougal has done a great job in really focusing on that rider experience with connectivity and, having that blue square flow trail experience, having the black diamond experience. It's a cohesive trail network, although it was, started organically, grassroots, willy-nilly, just people out there. I want to put a trail in here. He's taken that and really, provided a great experience for everybody.
How does a place like this compare to like a Squamish, a Whistler, Camblers, other big places?
Yeah, I'd say we don't compare. Those places there, I mean, they're destination centers. Squamish's network is really, like, drawn out across the landscape. I'd say ours is more condensed. Um, Whistler is Whistler. It's they've got an amazing trail network there, but it's still Whistler, right? It's not just for mountain bikers. It's like you get the whole gamut there. Um, yeah, it's funny because in the early days, people would call and say, "Well, do you have like North Shore type riding?" I'd be like, "No, we've got Cumberland, right? We are our own community." And I think that every riding area, ride destination should really embrace that what they have and not try and mimic what other communities have. Play your strengths and recognize them.
Yeah, I feel like Cumberland's doing that in so many aspects with their businesses, their people, their trail building, their riders.
Yeah.
It's just like everyone's embracing what they have.
Well, and I would, also say we're pretty diverse. We're like mountain biking is the core of our community. Um, but we have live music. We have soul, right? Like it's not all recreation, it's not all industry, it's not all arts and culture. It's a very diverse community with a very strong mountain bike scene.
I like that. Yeah. What are your favorite three trails?
Oh, Further Burger, hands down. And then the other two, it's gonna be, depends on how they're running. Yeah, in this moment, it's Vanilla's up there. Like, Vanilla, it's
I
like
hear that.
it's off the hook right now, right? It's running the best it ever has, and, um and then otherwise, I'm liking Teapot right now. I've been putting some time in on it, so it's fun to ride. It's nice to go back and, rework a trail that you were part of the build again 20 plus years ago. So yeah,
See it all. So
yeah, off Broadway, you know, there's there's so much good trail. That's another thing is now I remember when we started the after school mountain bike club with the Cumberland Community School Society, and we really didn't have any trail that the kids could ride. It was just all too hard. So I remember Spanker, watching all the kids get off their bike and have to walk. So we put a bridge in there and solved the problem. And then there was some active harvesting, and I can remember walking the block with Hancock Forestry and the fire chief from town and UROC as a stakeholder, and and the logging contractor was there, and the fire chief wanted a fire break put in, and I'm like, sounds like a great opportunity for a trail. And that's how we got after school special. So the logging contractor, Mike Hamilton Logging, on his own dime, went in there and established a trail for the kids. And now that area has 2-pack, 4-pack, not 6-pack for the kids, but it's a great riding area for kids now.
Yeah, and me.
And you.
And
And
I love it. Like I go in there all the time. Like
yeah,
way down. Like that's my go-to. Like
totally. Found Link.
in Bone Storm that I like was just
Yeah.
down and everywhere.
4-pack's running awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like kind of now we've got that product for the kids and rider development right close to town. That's again, that's pretty special. Kids or as adults, right? Like the club is for years hosted the women's Wednesday night ride, and that's a lot of the time that's where new riders start, and they'll meet people that they identify with and ride well with, and then they'll start riding, keep going to the Wednesday night ride, but then pick up another ride day with those people that they meet. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's looking for that too. She's not a mountain biker. She runs a lot, but not a cyclist really at all. But kind of wants to get into it. I told her, I was like, let's get you in some lessons with gravity, and then you can start joining the
Wednesday night ride. Yeah. It was actually started by my wife when she was in nursing school. It was part of a school project that she had to do. So yeah, yeah. Um, and something else is worth talking about too. We talk about UROC and the relationship with the logging companies. We worked hard with them, and we developed language in their site prescriptions to accommodate like harvesting and recreation, which is pretty good, right? Like, so earlier we were talking about UROC and the landowners and how it's all based on relationships, and the landowners are logging companies, and we talked about how UROC started out advocacy, and initially we were trying to, you know, um, advocate for non-harvesting, and we went through a variety of different things, like so try and not harvest. Well, that's not going to work because they have to do their core business, right? And we tried reserves on either side of the trails. Hancock was open to that, which is pretty amazing. But we found the trees just weren't wind firm enough. So the first windstorm would come and they'd all blow down, and that was problematic. So in the end, what we did was we developed language that they put in their site prescriptions, which was fall away, yard away, reduce machine traffic on trails, and remove all coarse woody debris. And so the contractors, again, on their own dime, would ensure that that would happen. And at times, they could be harvesting an area when they shut their machines off at the end of the day. You could go in there and ride it after hours and on weekends. Like that's pretty amazing. So that's a good shout out to the landowners and to the contractors that go above and beyond to accommodate that. So yeah, totally. Like absolutely. They're mountain bikers themselves. And I think the club has also done well to educate the membership and the riding population that this is not Crown Mountain, that it is private, and it's a lot of work to maintain that land use agreement and to keep it going.
Oh, it's amazing. Can't wait for more.
Yeah.
You're great.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate that a lot.